We're here with Thomas Charlrville, who happens to own his own coffee company, and it's a very fascinating story. And he's got a fascinating coffee. A lot of people love it, and so anyway, without further ado, Tom.
Hello.
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 Why don't you tell us a little about your story?
Well, I'm Tom Charlrville, and I'm a third-generation coffee roaster. My family used to own a coffee company in St. Louis in year 1930. My grandfather had a coffee company called Rose's Coffee Company, serving primarily restaurants and hotels and country clubs. And then my dad bought that from his stepfather. And then I've had 2 years of junior college, and I've been a coffee peddler all my life. And so I've been selling coffee literally all my life. And my 68 years I've been a coffee peddler. And the first time I was in Brazil, I was 19 years old. So there aren't many people like this around that have the history that I know. But what I'm more interested in now is I had a coffee company called Thomas Coffee that was sold. I started in '84, and it was sold in '09. I had a stroke, I had a clot in my brain, and I tried to run it for a year but could not. So it was sold. And so I'm starting a new coffee company called Clipper. And people say, why Clipper? Well, I like the graphics, I like ships, and a Clipper was the fastest sailing ship ever made. If you noticed, like the Tea Party, that was on Clippers. Coffee, tea, and spices were shipped on Clippers strictly for freshness. And so that's what I like about Clippers, and I like the name. And I would buy from Central and South America only the best, from Costa Rica and Guatemala and Colombia and Brazil. But in my blend that I have of Clipper, it has 4 components. My regular blend, it has 2 Costa Ricans, a Guatemalan and a Colombian. And I buy this coffee directly from the growers. And so I take it directly from the farmer into St. Louis. And I go there, as I will be there in about 2 weeks again to Costa Rica, cupping these coffees. I just don't go there and look at it. I've done this in Costa Rica for about the last 28 years. And I have good relationships, and that's very, very important for those relationships. And the people that I do business with, they're on the same page as I am about quality. It's their very, very best shot. The coffees that I buy are called European preparation. Within the coffee industry, when you say European preparation, that means the best. And then I split hairs. They're all really, really good, and it's just my opinion what I like to be the best. They're all just great by themselves. In fact, in my blend, the only reason I blend it is each coffee has its own little personality. Some has body, one has acidity, some has sweetness, some has bouquet. And that's the reason that I blend. Any one of these coffees in my blend are absolutely perfect by themselves. And my decaf is 100% Colombian, a high-end Colombian, processed with no chemicals. It is processed in Germany with no chemicals, with a steam process. So it goes from Colombia to Germany to St. Louis to me. And so there's a lot of effort. There is a lot of effort that goes into this, and it's taken me a lifetime to put these coffees together. A lot of people can read a lot of books, and I don't read the books, I write them. And so this is what I'm all about, and most the important thing is it's in the cup. It's all about the cup. That's what your customers want, is to have a great cup of coffee, and they're always looking for a great cup of coffee, and it always comes up a little short of what they were hoping it would be. But with Clipper, it isn't. It'll be the one that they'll be looking for every day.
Wow, that's great. Now, I noticed that how do you package your how's your coffee packaged?
Okay, now
how's it different?
Okay, with in the grocery business, I sell it in whole bean, and those are in very good aluminum bags with valves. And those one-way valves, that's so the gas can go out. And they have a fresh time. The freshness is about a year within, like, shall we say, the other people like Starbucks and Pete's, they normally date them around 6 months on up to 9 months, some to about a year. Now what I do, I don't roast my coffee or package it until I get an order. It doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. There's no inventory. The green coffee that I have a lot of unroasted green coffee because I need that to get my quality, to keep it consistent. Because the coffee I buy is purchased seasonally. So if I don't get it, the crop is gone. And the coffee I buy is the upper to 1 to 3% of the quality band. It's real important, the quality band, the upper 1 to 3%. So you can't come up short and say, well, I'd like to get some more. Well, it's gone. So I buy about a year and a half out in advance, as I contracted another one this morning already for November, this upcoming November. Anyway, but you're asking me about the packaging. The whole bean coffee is in the foil bags, and they're very good bags. And there's no reason to put them in nitrogen because that valve is a out valve, and that's good. Now, in my can of coffee, which is brown, before you put it in a can, you have to let it gas off. So what you held, the gas in a coffee smells good. But those gases, if you put it right into the can, it'll get puffy. It'll be puffy, it'll swell. And so this coffee, you have to let it gas off for 12 hours. Then, the coffee that I put in a can, even people think the can is old school, I'm saying do not kick the can yet. That's one of my slogans, don't kick the can yet, because I love cans. And it also, when you put it in a can and you pull a vacuum, it is fresh within the can industry 4.5 years. Really, I have some that are more than 10 years older. But within the can industry, the tin industry, they say it's fresh for 4.5 years. And also in my can, I have a pull ring to open it. You don't have to have a can opener. I did that out of laziness or convenience because I could never find a can opener when I wanted one. So as far as I know within the industry, any grocery store, I don't believe is going to have the ring pull over can.
So you're sure of its freshness when you pop the can?
Oh, you better believe it. When you open that can, sometimes if I can it a little too soon, it winds up on the counter a little bit because of the freshness. And what that is, those are a gas. So that's a good gas. I can assure you that's a good gas. So
that's good to hear.
Well, you're selling the coffee in St. Louis at what places? Deerberg's?
Yes, Deerberg's, a store called Lucky, and a newer one in St. Louis. It has been for about 3 years, called Fresh Time. And these have been very good customers of mine.
That's awesome.
Well, also here, I'm with Top Star Quality Products. We're going to be selling Tom's coffee online on Amazon. And what we do, we try to find the best products to sell. And we have come across what I think is a gem of a product, Clipper Coffee. Here's the logo on it, and like I said, Tom is just an absolutely fascinating person. Tom, is there any closing comments you want to add about yourself, about your coffee, about your history that would interest customers?
Not that I could think of right now. My passion is all about quality. I'm very familiar with coffee, but I'm only interested in the best. And I know what my customers want. And I know that's what people want. So I really don't have nothing else to say to it. Nothing else really to say at this point.
Well, okay. Well, thank you. And Tom, it was great doing an interview with you.
Betcha.
Great. Thank you, sir.
I do have a question.
Fire away.
I've had your coffee.
Yes.
And I was amazed at that it's not bitter. I drink coffee every day.
That's right.
But I really never splurge, and I mean it's like selecting wine. There are so many different brands.
It is. It is. Also, if you don't mind, coffee is a fruit. Coffee is a fruit.
Oh.
It's just like wine. And there's regions, and there's soils, and there's certain crops. That's why I need to buy the coffee in advance. And where I get it from, the coffees that I buy in Clipper Coffee, this coffee is grown about 4,500 to 6,000 feet above sea level, and there is 3,000 hand-picked beans to 1 pound of this coffee. 3,000 hand-picked beans to 1 pound of Clipper coffee.
That's incredible.
You better believe it. And this is why, and what you look for with a good coffee, people know it anyway, but these are what you're looking for. You're looking for a coffee that has a cleanliness in the palate, to be very clean, have a good body, a nice taste, and then, just like wine, have a nice finish. That's real important. That's where you see, and also with Clipper, you can find coffee all the way down till it's cold. It'll almost taste better, even better. Whereas most every other coffee, as it cools, that's when you see them roll it down the window because they just don't want it anymore, and it has that bitterness. Some has more bitterness than others, but Clipper will not. As it cools, it'll be almost if possible, even a little better. It'll be, you could taste it more because the heat masks the flavor.
Oh, it does.
It's just like a good wine. If it's too cold, you want to bring it up to warm temperature. That's the opposite with Clipper coffee. It'll go all the way down to the room temperature. It'll be just as good. And also with this coffee, you can microwave it again and again and again. As I do this myself all the time. I
That's
make
great.
a pot before I go to bed at night.
Do you really?
Because this also has about half the caffeine as the lower grade Robusta coffees. This is why, now God makes my decaf better, or less decaf, and the less acidity. The better the quality, a little less caffeine, and far less acidity.
I know that when I drink too much coffee during the day, usually I have.
That's that acidity of low grade coffee. That's the acidity. It
That's
gets to your
what that
stomach.
is.
That's exactly right. Now you
So,
can always have too much of anything.
Sure.
Too much.
And too much of a good thing.
Yeah, but this will be
However,
very.
I can drink more of it.
It'll be very. You'll like it. See, coffee is about hospitality and pleasure. So you want to have a great cup of coffee.
Absolutely, like friends.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And that's why I blend these coffees together, because each coffee has its own personality. It's like having 3 guys or 4 guys or 4 people sitting at the table. Everybody has a little something to add to the conversation. That's the reason I blend these coffees.
Makes for a great experience.
That's exactly right. It does.
Great. Well, thank you for your time.
Well, thank
I appreciate
you
it.
very much.